Hi, I'm Lexi Vollmer, and this is Mini Pig Training. So first, I just want to go over some Mini Pig 101 basic information. First and foremost, they are social creatures, so if you are able to have more than one pig or offer a lot of social interactions just through you handling them, playing with them, giving them quite a bit of attention, this is going to set them up for success and fulfill some of the basic needs that they have just in general outside of training sessions. The next bit of information is that they are omnivores, so this gives you a wide variety of foods to work with. Predominantly, things that they really enjoy are some fruits and vegetables, and are some more high-value items for use as training rewards, but also some different proteins are also available as choices that you can use. Each pig is different. They might have a favorite fruit, favorite vegetable. Otherwise, picking the thing that they like the most is going to have them focused really hard on what you're asking them to do. Next are some natural behaviors and things to keep in mind that these are things your pig is naturally going to want to do, and you need to find a proper outlet for them. A good example is rooting. This can be really destructive if it's done in the home. It's where they're taking their snout, they're going down, they're digging, they're looking for goodies. This is something they would do in the wild. It's totally normal. It's not so great on carpet, so having a nice outside area where they can go, they can root, they can dig around, look for nice little nuggets and treats in the ground without worrying about having to replace your floors or anything like that. So having an area where they can do that appropriately is definitely a major consideration you need to have when getting a mini pig. And the last thing that we have here is that they're highly intelligent. This is great for training. They will pick stuff up pretty quickly. They're really easy to train. You can do a wide variety of tricks. You can harness train them. You can potty train them. You can do just about anything that you put your mind to. Just putting in the work and the steps, and you can have a very highly trained piglet on your hand. So for our training methods, I will be using exclusively positive reinforcement. This is when we give something to the animal to increase the likelihood of them performing a behavior. Most of the time we'll be using food. It's a really good motivator. I know I would do something for some nice yummy treats, so same goes for them. We'll also be using operant conditioning. This is where we're actively changing the animal's behavior and asking them to do new behaviors. One of the methods of operant conditioning that we'll be focusing on predominantly is shaping. This is breaking down a larger behavior into smaller steps to help them get there without asking them to do too much at once. So go in baby steps and then building up to asking for the full command or cue at the end. And then we will be using a continuous schedule where we will give a treat after every successful time that they do the behavior that we are asking them for. Onto the training tools and reinforcers. So the main tools that we'll be using during our training sessions for this course are our clicker and our mat. The clicker also doubles as a secondary reinforcer. This is a little tool. It gives a little click in the hand. If the sound of the clicker is a little too intense for your piggy, you can muffle it a little bit with your hand, or you can stick your hand in your pocket so that the sound isn't quite as intense until they get used to the sound of it. The mat will be used for our second and third protocols, in which we will be teaching place and stay. It'll be a nice little area for them to easily identify this is where we want them to go. As far as reinforcers, as I had mentioned, food is going to be a very, very important one. So having a variety of treats, knowing what your pig likes the most to have as a high value item, these are the things that you'll be using for primary reinforcers. For secondary, we have, as I mentioned, the clicker, also verbal praise, so a nice good job, good girl, good boy, anything like that to get them excited about what they just did, as well as toys and play. Sometimes just giving them that little break and that little bit of excitement of tug of war or chasing their favorite toy is also something that's really rewarding and you can use to reinforce what you're asking of them. Next, we have our protocol. So we will have our training session broken down into 3 different parts. The first one will focus on priming the clicker. This is where the animal learns that the sound of the clicker means that they are soon getting a food reward. So working on building that association and getting used to the idea of click means I get a treat. So using that information, when we move on to our next protocol, which is teaching place, we'll be able to use the clicker as a reinforcer moving forward. Place will be teaching the animal that there's a specific location that we want them to go to, and this is really useful if you need them to stay and go to a specific place. Perhaps you're cooking food and you don't want them underfoot asking for all the little droppings and stuff like that. You can tell them to go to place and have them go sit over in their little area. Building off of place, we have stay. So obviously you get them over to where they need to be. You want to make sure that they're going to stay put. So stay will help them stay in the area that you designate for them, even if you walk away or you need to have them be in that position for an extended period of time. They'll work on building both the distance that you can have them hold a stay and the length of time that they can hold a stay. And eventually you can get up to the point where they stay until you say otherwise. And it can take a little bit of practice, but that's totally fine. And for our training sessions, it's going to be 1 month per protocol, so 4 weeks. During those 4 weeks, in addition to working on each behavior, we're also going to have some homework. This can be watching some videos that I have prepared, taking notes on the different behaviors that you're seeing with your pet, noting down what their favorite foods, their favorite toys are. This is going to help tremendously with training because you're going to know what's going to get them the most motivated, as well as building blocks. So as I sort of described, going through in order which behaviors we're going to be working on, I really want to focus on building those foundations. Each behavior leads into the next, and then the behaviors at the end of this that you can also use as jumping points to build into other areas of learning as well, and use these building blocks to have your horizons widened with what you want to teach your pig. And these are my references. Thank you for coming to my presentation.